Hello everybody and welcome to my rundown of the preseason 11 updates. Now my goal with this quick video is to give you a non-clickbait as I can, unbiased look without getting overexcited about how the season's looking to shape up. So I have mostly avoided reading these until now, so this is mostly my first reactions, and the reason was, as you maybe browsed the League Reddit, for example, over the last couple of months, there's been a ton of overhype about loads of different items. You see videos people put up like Master Yi having 100% CDR and constantly being in queue, being permanently invulnerable, and all sorts of silly stuff like that. And stats weren't finalised all over the place. You had things like items combining to give less AD than their components, that sort of thing. So I had never wanted to spend too much time reading or analysing items before the final stat lines were done. So without further preamble, let's actually get into looking at some of these items. Gale Force. Gives champions a way to dodge high impact skill shots or aggressively finish off low health targets. I'm not going to read all of these line by line, but this is in summary mobility. Now, base stats, this is similar-ish to Stormrazor on Live, so it's a mix of everything, which makes it somewhat attractive as a one item power spike. And the main thing is the active. Does it have a range, dash, and target direction? That's why would you not tell me how far the dash range is? That's incredibly important information. So I'll have to make my mind up on this one perhaps later. But my initial thoughts are this does magic damage on an AD scaling item, and it gives all of some random stats. So this is going to be a early power spike style item. This does not scale particularly well into late game. You're not going to be able to synergize with your Last Whisper style items. Increased against low health targets. It's a long cooldown on... I'm not sure I like this item. It's going to massively depend on you getting a lot of power out of this dash that's on a 90-second cooldown. That's huge in League of Legends. There may be some... It may be... As with Right's goal, I think, with this entire thing, maybe situational mobility as an item you can buy is a cool idea. I do like this, but this is also a little perhaps going to be underrated. Movement speed is an incredibly valuable stat, and we'll see if this makes some crazy things like, I don't know, Udyr buying this and him whooshing around the map when he shouldn't be. Kraken Slayer anti-tank. This seems like a relatively simple item. Oh, that's quite interesting. So this is also giving all of these. Okay, all of these items seem to have a mix of all the stats AD carriers want or just attack damage champions want. So the other rumour I've heard in general about the preseason is people consider the assassin items, AD assassin items, overtuned. So I'll have to actually read these and see what it looks like. Total gold, AD, crit strike, bring it down, Vayne passive on an item. Yeah, as it says, I don't have too much to say about this. It seems fairly efficiently statted. It's just AD damage though. This may end up being good. It's just a stat stick. This is going to be highly dependent on the meta and who's using it. If you're putting someone that's just going to be... Oh, it's on hit as well. So if the meta favours on-hit champions, perhaps, or just back to front team fighting, Kraken Slayer is going to be useful. Immortal Shield Bow. It's basically a massive hex drinker shield, right? Total cost, yep. This is slightly lower than the other ones, right? Yeah, this is a slightly lower stats, so more power, potentially in a mix of the active and some lifesteal. Lifeline, that's a mediocre shield for 90-second cooldown, to be honest. I'm not sure I like this. I wouldn't buy this very often from looking at it right now, but I often don't buy PD already when I'm playing like Yasuo. I'm greedy and I've stuck in with shiv builds a lot of the time, so I'll have to see. You could probably get away with buying this on exactly someone like Yasuo. This is your Phantom Dancer style item. It's probably going to end up being a very safe choice. Sunflower Aegis, tank item, Balmy Cinder, yep. It's a mix of both resists, so that will make it a little harder to rush if you're trying to just fight versus your lane opponent. So that's a little interesting. It's a mix of both resists. Immolate, yep, anything interesting? No. It grants other legendary items ability haste. Oh, back up to the shield bow. This gives flat AD damage. I don't like that. Flat health doesn't synergize with your lifesteal. I just realised I was skipping over this a bit, but I don't like that passive part. I get that it survives burst, but so much of an ADC works on a sort of drain tank style, and yeah, attack speed makes sense up here. I like any mythic that's giving stuff ability haste. Ability haste is a really good stat. Well, it's CDR, but that's very generous, giving 15 or more ability haste. It's hard for me to know how much CDR that converts to yet. There are some simple calculations, but I don't know or familiar with how ability haste works well enough yet. So Frostfire Gauntlet, this is more AD than the other one, but it still has some magic resist thrown in. You're not being able to escape having to get both resists yet. Grants other legendary items 100 health, increase your champion's model size. That's gonna be that will look interesting, but I don't know how powerful increasing your champion's model is. It's like Cho'Gath when he's massive. It doesn't feel that game changing most of the time. Sure, you might be able to block more skill shots, but the value of blocking more skill shots versus being able to dodge skill shots is questionable. I don't know if you want to be bigger a lot of the time, even on massive tanks, but we shall see. Immolate. Ooh, this also has the Balmy Cinder Immolate. That's interesting. Frostfire Gauntlet. Now this is an interesting change. Frostfire Gauntlet, or Iceborne Gauntlet, what it was before, doesn't have the Sheen item on anymore. And it also has health, so this opens it up to a lot more users and upsets a lot of users. For example, Tarak really liked Iceborne. Well, it was a super niche, but Tarak, it just comes first to my head as a champion that really synergized well with Iceborne because he got his Sheen procs with spell spam as well as all the other stats. Turbo Chem Tank. This is Righteous Glory. Sort of a boosted up Righteous Glory. Grants other legendary items tenacity. That's dangerous. I mean, what? You can have up to 4 other items, 20% tenacity, plus runes. You're going to be able to... If other parts of the game stay as they are, tenacity might start stacking up to like 70-80% on tanks, which is going to be interesting to deal with. Duskblade. Now, I have heard about this one before. It was one of the things Reddit was crying about. So, yep, all of this seems pretty standard. The stat line is relatively unchanged from live, but 20 ability haste is a lot to add on when converting from CDR. And this is you become invisible. It's really hard to know how powerful this will be. It sounds very broken, and 1.5 seconds is kind of a lot, but think of how that will actually work. How many champions are going to be able to get out after getting kills because of this? Think of like Talon or Rengar as the biggest all-in champions like this. Are they really going to benefit that much from being able to escape all the time? I mean, I think so. Like, Rengar can jump in the middle of your team, one hit you, and then get out is the idea, I think. That sounds scary, but... I mean, I'm trying to add a but here, but this is mostly just this sounds scary. I don't know how powerful this will be compared to other items, but I can see why people are worried about Duskblade. Resetting invisibility on an item sounds like a recipe for disaster. We shall see. Eclipse helps assassins. Omnivamp. Ooh, interesting. Omnivamp on a lethality item. That's interestingly relevant for a lot of champions. Like Talon Q and passive wouldn't apply that rather than freaking lifesteal, which never worked on the abilities. So this could turn assassins into better jewelers, as it says. Max health damage on an assassin. Whew, that lets them side lane versus bruisers and tanks easier. Extra move speed. 150. And a shield. Sure. Why not? This lets you side lane. This is obviously instead of your Duskblade, so you want to commit to a side lane. There could be champions that would like to do that. The Zeds of the world, if they decide they can't teamfight, can opt into that, but that'd be rather an early game choice to be able to decide that you want to go splitting already. This is going to be a strange item. I'm not sure what champions want to commit to having to side lane that early into the game. It's against that. It's about armor pen, and yeah, this doesn't seem to match up with the style of an assassin. And most assassins would want to snowball, your traditional assassins. Maybe something like Jace would want this, but it's nerf for ranged champions. Prowler's Claw, dash through target champion. Dealing bonus damage. Extra lethality is the nice part of that. I don't know about this part. I mean, most assassins already have the gap closers in their kit. That's somewhat questionable. I guess it's useful versus champions. It's a mobility counter by having more mobility. Take it on Rengar, jump on an Ezreal, he dashes away, you activate Prowler's Crawl. I can see that being good synergy with some kits particularly, but also somewhat questionable. It might be hard to position yourself with that. It might be more of a skillful item to use. Okay, then we're on to AP items. Liandry's Anguish. Yeah, it's Liandry's, but it gives mana now. This is somewhat of a harsh nerf for supports, like say Zyra. This might be too expensive to opt into. Gives ability haste. Because a lot of mages that took Liandry's wanted it because it was an AP item that wasn't focused on CDR and mana. So they're moving it back towards like what an Orianna would want, which is okay as an anti-tank item, but this really hurts traditional anti-tanks. Traditional damage over time champions who didn't want to focus on CDR. Specifically, this is the most massive nerf for Zyra, who doesn't need CDR that much, and also just wants to get Liandry's as cheaply as possible, so yeah, Gains a Magic Pen is kind of nice, but this is kind of mediocre. It'll be fine. Odin's Tempest and speed to reposition. Yep. Grants movement speed now? Sure. Why not? Oh, it gives Magic Pen now. This is going to be the AP Assassin item. Giving Magic Pen onto your core item, somewhat dangerous. You don't have to opt into the Oblivion Orb to get early true damage. Combine Sork Shoes with that's 28 Magic Pen. That's going to be deleting people if they refuse to buy any magic resists. Can be a bit of a noob stomp item, to be honest. Okay. Everfrost. This is like the new Glacial Augment, right? Oh wait, I mean not the new Glacial Augment, but it's the replacement for Spooky Ghosts and GLP. 20-second cooldown. That's very low cooldown for roots. You're going to be able to fish with this. Oh, and just going back to this, the mythic passive part, extra 5 magic pen, that's huge. Everfrost, grants all legendary items 15 ability power. Yeah, this is your big stacking. This is what Orianna is going to want to build as well. Like thinking of battle mages, stacking up big amounts of AP, and a low cooldown. Slowing effect. This is basically GLP, sure. Okay. Protobelt. Hoo-hoo, Vlad is going to like this, probably. I don't know how his builds are going to work out, because at the moment he just rushes Death Cap, basically, which is absurd. Well, Spellbind Death Cap. But we'll see what that specific abomination of a champion works out to build. But here we go. Dashes, missiles, it's Protobelt. The movement speed now, why not? This is also Magic Pen. Yeah, this would be quite nice for both assassins and Vlad, who doesn't want mana. Riftmaker. Mages and tanky and medic damage dealers. Omnivamp. Ooh, that's somewhat scary. This gains Magic Pen. More. The Void Corruption is the Leandri's passive. Moved on to this. So this is going to be built on perhaps Cassiopeia. That style of damage over time, but it's got no mana. You have no mana. Any champion that's going to want to be in combat for a long time is going to also want a load of mana. So this anti-synergizes with itself by not giving you any of that. So perhaps manaless champions, like Vlad's a burst mage now. Old Vlad would have liked this. It's somewhat of a mess of an item, this. It's a powerful ability, but you need mana with it for the majority of the users that would like that. Multi-harvester, assassins, 60-second cooldown per ability. This is your CDR item. This is kind of mediocre. It's cheaper than others, I guess, but it's some solid AP, bit of random health tacked on. Damaging an item is just a little bit of extra damage. That's 15% AP. That's not actually very much. That's really uninspired. Multi-kill. Perhaps Cat would like it. Damaging a champion. I mean, I feel like there would be better, more situational options. It's probably not going to be bad anytime you do go it, but it's not inspiring. Just depends on how the raw stats work out, because it's fairly cheap and gives some AP. Lots of ability haste as well, so yeah, Cat, probably not Cat, because Cat doesn't care that much about CDR. Who wants to... What assassins and great tool for magic dealing. It's bruisers who want CDR, so Silas maybe? Magic bruisers? Diana? Silas? Yeah. Sure. So on to Trinity Force. This has barely changed at all, but doesn't give mana anymore. That's one interesting change. So hooray, now Garen can use it at full efficiency. That's about it, along with attack speed and everyone. This is going to be scary on manless champions who already like Trinity Force. I think that's just Garen, to be honest. But sure, why not? Trinity Force seems good. It's cheaper. That's significantly cheaper to get the 200% bonus attack Trinity proc. That's a good buff for a champion like Jax. Okay. Great Drinker, Survive Burst. Bursting slash it's inactive. That's interesting. 15-second cooldown as well. That's really weird. So it's a bruiser item, but it wants you to be building a lot of AD to get value out of it. But it also... 12% of your missing health. Every champion hit. Oh, this is weird. This might be one of the strongest items I've read so far. 12% of your missing health. That's like a Darius Q on a 15-second... Well, it's like giving everyone a Darius Q. That's kind of crazy. It depends on the range how good this is. Because this lets you engage on something like Jax, get bursted down, and then sustain back up. Huh. It makes you choose between Trinity and this though. So I'm trying to think of champions that didn't really like Trinity but went it because it was somewhat overstated for a long time. And we're coming up short for now on who would like this over Trinity, but this is a strong item. So no escaping a fight, attack speed, a bit of everything. This seems a bit like an ADC item. This seems better than the bow thing at the start. Lunge short distance. Yeah, that's a lot lower cooldown. Depends on distances. Give me the ranges, right? This is movement speed to move about. And lots of stats 80 champions like. Divine Sunderer allows fighters to kill tanks. Tanks are not doing well on this. Everything wants to kill them. After using ability, your next basic attack is enhanced with an additional 10% target max health. 1.5 second cooldown. What? That's brutal versus tanks. That's a percent max health spellblade. I mean, not just for killing. I mean, tanks themselves can go this. Take this on like Scion and build full armor for the rest part. Tanks do best with max health because they don't need max health damage, because they don't need to build other damage items, and they're staying in a fight for a long time or having kits that let them slowly auto. So this could be an interesting tank item, even though it's called anti-tank, for like a tank versus tank matchup. Like, if you build this on Scion, you're gonna bash a Malphite, maybe not Malphite specifically, but bash a tank like Maokai or Ornn specifically. Ornn's a very common tank v tank matchup, and you will smash him with this. Support items now. Shrelia's Battle Song. Effect, sure, it's pretty much the same. 90-second cooldown, this is really shit. Rakan may build it, and no one else. This is too long a cooldown for a fairly mediocre effect. It gives them a bit of extra damage. No, I'm still not convinced. This isn't a good item. Extra move speed. Rakan item, maybe no one else. Locket. Consecrate. Now this is still such a massively nerfed version of the previous Locket aura, but auras are very good. What do auras mean? Auras mean your teammates will survive versus magic pen and lethality so much better. So if you're adding 10 armor, 10 magic resist to everyone in your team, you've countered a full legendary lethality item that gives like plus 10 lethality late game, or you're getting close to negating Sork Shoes on your entire team, so people aren't getting one shot anymore. And of course the shield. This is back to the more classic Locket as it was in previous seasons, but it's still a super nerfed version, even as a mythic item. Auras have always been underrated. This is going to be... I predict this will see pro play, but not much solo queue play because people underestimate auras. It's going to be boring invisible stats, but it's going to be efficient, and tank supports are going to buy it. Winston Renewer, healing of time. CDR, that's a good amount of CDR for this. Ooh, this is the Soraka item. When affecting a champion, basic attacks or abilities in combat, restore health to nearest wounded ally. This is super good on dedicated healers, of which Soraka is the main one. Soraka's not a big fan of having to buy health, but she would still like this. This gives everything Soraka wants. I will buy this on Soraka. Maybe Nami, I don't know yet, but this is good. This is a very good item. Imperial Mandate, Ally Burst. See me checking my RuneScape, but Imperial Mandate, Ally Burst. Use your CC to check shots as you mark enemies to be cut down by your team. I like the stat lines. Ability power. Extra damage. I mean, this might be what your Zyras of the world build in the new world, where they're fucked over by not having the Leandries. But I feel like Zyra is going to lose so much damage by losing easy access to Leandries. This is going to suck for damage over time mages, at least. Some extra CDRs. This is fairly efficient stat-wise. It's kind of everything you want on an AP support. Abilities are slow or immobilized, so supports that can consistently apply that. This would be cool to rush on Janna, with like a more W rush Janna. If you're slowing them with your W, and that marks them, and you get CDR to chase them down even further with more Ws. That sounds fun to try on Janna, if I can convince you that playing Janna's fun. And abilities, okay, that's past mythic items now. Stat updates, yeah, ability 8, I disagree with right here, but they're going to do it anyway. Yep, every ability with ability haste gives you 1% casts faster. Yeah, vamp effects, big change here is lifesteal now counts as physical damage. That by on-hit effects. Ooh, that's... So what, like Rageblade? Huh, interesting. Physical vamp, omni-vamp, cool. Critical strike. Yeah, they're nerfing crit overall, which is interesting. Crits, this doesn't make any sense, this is stupid. So what, now you've got to remember 200% damage on a critical hit was always a sensible thing, the world of the game, but whatever. It's going to make power scaling a little smoother on AD carries, which is probably their goal. I dislike it thematically. A critical hit is times 2 damage. That's just what I consider it to be, but there we go. Legendary items. The Collector. May skip these quicker because they're not always so interesting. Ooh, these are still actually worth quite a bit, so we shall see how strong some of these are. Effects, dealing damage. Oh, executes. So it's like a Elder Dragon passive on all items, but on an AD crit lethality mess of a item, sure. I don't know who's going to want that weird mix of stats. Lethality, crit, and AD. I mean, what, ADCs? Sure. But ADCs don't like lethality much. Maybe some sort of weird Aphelios build with him maxing his lethality first. But that's a strange one. Like, Volutions. Who builds lethality? Draven? Ooh, Draven's a good one. But does Draven need this dealing damage that would execute? I'm trying to think of like damage over time champions, or champions like... Oh, Caitlyn. Caitlyn, that's one. This might be a weird item to build super early game as Caitlyn with the lethality for your Qs and the ult. And then your ult has a dealing damage. This increases your ult execute range. Sure. Critical strikes of basic attacks reduced your... Ooh, this is the meme Yi item that saw people having Qs constantly. Why is Sphere of Shojin back? They're trying it again. But now it's decided to crit. I mean, this is going to be cool and all until Tryndamere breaks it. That's disgusting. Tryndamere is going to be absolutely filthy to deal... What? Right, just need to think more. Like, this is clearly going to be an abuse case. This Quick Blades item is going to be an utter mistake. We've seen it with Spear of Shojin and Essence Reaver. This effect is broken, and now it's not even tied to having to use your ult. This is going to be a complete mess and require nerfing and changing, and it'll probably get removed. Force of Nature, interesting item. It's quite expensive. It's from the classic days of League. Taking damage increases your MR. This is a lot of MR when MR is normally quite hard to build, so seems kind of cool. It's going to be weird to have this item back, but sure, it's not very exciting. It's just an MR stat stick. Serpent Fang helps assassins fight back. Ugh. Shield killing item. I don't know this was needed in the game, but sure. Shielded targets now take extra damage. Basic attacks and abilities deal 50. 50 is a lot. I don't know how this is going to work with things like Talon passive. Is Talon passive going to instantly delete a shield with every tick of the passive doing damage? I doubt it, but sure. This kills shields. Shielding champions aren't even very strong in the current meta. I mean, did Jenna and Lulu really need this? I know people hate shielding champions, but they've already been nerfed so many times with shield duration nerfs to the actual kits, so this is like 2 seasons too late. I don't know, maybe it'll be good versus Scion or something. Bleh, don't like that item. Horizon Focus. Damage Amp. Oh, this is the AP Zeref item. Sure. 750 range is incredibly long range to be on to consistently hitting items. I think it will literally just be Zeref who can use this well. Maybe Seraphine. I don't know too much about Seraphine's kit yet, but 750 range, keeping someone at that range consistently and also spamming spells on them is gonna be a big ask. Like even something like Ziggs, who can hit people at long range, you don't normally hit bombs in quick succession within another 6 seconds like that. Like, I guess you can Q someone, and if you've hit them after fishing with Qs for long enough, you know your ult's going to do more damage, so perhaps you'll buy it, but this is a weird item. Cosmic Dryad, ability haste, dealing... okay, so it's like a phage for casters. This is going to be really annoying to play versus like Phase Rush Cassiopeia with this. 10, and it scales with your ability haste. Oh man, this is going to be... I don't know if damage over time is going to work with this as well, but this could be a real pain in the ass to deal with. This is a very strong item. We may see this being had to be nerfed. I'm not saying about many items, but that's a really strong one. A new home for both bruisers and battle mages. Dealing ability damage. What? So like Liandry's on a tank item? Oh, it's what? It's a helm that gives AP. It's like another Liandry's. Let's read it more carefully. Okay, so it's like a Liandry's that also makes you tankier, rather than doing more damage when you CC them. Sure, that's a really strange effect, but you could probably get it on like a Mumu or Sejuani. But you'd want to be tankier, really. Like, that's a really strange combination. Diana? Silas? Yeah. Right, I'm really trying to push the AP Bruiser style here. And I have a feeling it's not going to be healthy. I have a feeling what's going to happen with these kind of items that they want to have AP Bruisers taking is Assassin's going to take them, go in, blow someone up in one hit, and then be too tanky to kill and return, and it's going to be really unhealthy gameplay. Sure, we will see how that works out. Slows enemies. Armor pen. A frozen mallet? Armor pen? It's only abilities that slow, so sure, they might give a good enough description of the weird use cases where you'd want to use Talon late game to bring down a tank. Yeah, sure. Oh, Kha'Zix! Kha'Zix is going to love this item. You're going to get jumped on and then permaslowed by him while he's also beating you down. Good luck if you're isolated versus that. Silvermere, CC cleansing. Ooh, I like this. This is, well, it might be too strong, but it's a mix of resists and health. If you want to counter Mordekaiser, for example, this is going to be situational, but definitely has its place. You can buy this on bruisers. I like this item. Its stat line isn't overly impressive for 3,000 gold, but a lot of power is in the active. Doesn't tell me the cooldown. I assume this is the same cooldown as Quicksilver Sash, but come on, you've had so long to write up this document. At least get simple stuff like add the cooldown to the massively effective item in. Okay, Chimpunk Chainsaw. Oh, this is Grievous Wounds. Grievous Wounds is being massively buffed somewhere. 60% Grievous Wounds. This is too strong. This is maybe a topic for another time, but Grievous Wounds being massively buffed is just gonna, for example, kill champions like Soraka, who aren't going to allow to remain dead completely. They're going to hit super low win rates. And then are going to buff the healing in their kit until it gets to the point where you just auto-lose if you're not buying this OP anti-Grievous Wounds item. It's going to create very unfun binary gameplay. The champions are going to have 50% win rate because people don't buy this often enough, but at high level games and at random in lower level games, your success on healers is going to be determined by how stupid your enemies are, rather than your own positioning, etc. You can't heal versus you can't heal through 60% Grievous Wounds. You're going to have to hope they don't buy it because your kit doesn't work anymore after they buy it, which is stupid. These items are such a mistake. Grievous Wounds for support items. That's like everyone Grievous Wounds. Such a great mechanic. Mobilizing champions give 60% Grievous Wounds for 2,300 gold. This is such a terrible, terrible idea. These anti-healing items are the worst decision Riot has made in a very long time. This will just kill healing champions completely in every context, and it's going to hurt dedicated healers too much. Its target is thinking of things like, I don't know, Aatrox when he was strong. A bit of healing, but still doesn't have damage in their kit to work. But they're going to be much easier to burst down once you've got these items. And it's sort of balanced versus champions like Vlad as well. Vlad can still fairly kill you if you group up with his damage, but supports especially are going to get super screwed by this with not much to show for it. Spell Flowing Water. New items for enchanters. I don't like this item. This is really bad. Now the good part of it is this is a lot of AP for a low cost, and the stat line is very good. So this may be used for its stats. I think it might be matching Ardent, I'll have to check, but this is super mediocre. Gives you movement speed, which is nice, and it gives you AP, but that's not really the playstyle. This is going to be so niche. This is going to be like Nami Karthus bot lane benefiting from this. Most of the time you're going to be wanting to buff an AD late game threat with an item like this. It's nice that they've got the option. It will help out obscure picks like Karthus bot, but it might just be more unhealthy situations than good gameplay that gets affected by an item like that. It's going to be in a weird state of useless or OP depending on the situation. Growing item that can hold control wards. Sure. This is going to change competitive play completely, and perhaps not for the better. Supports are going to be forced to buy this every game and use these as mobile sweepers. It's going to massively affect the vision game at a higher level, and I don't know if it's going to be for the better. That's just the upgrade. Watchful Stone, sure, you can upgrade it even further. 40% CDR is big, but it's still, this is an overstated item that wants to turn supports into sweeper bots. This is going to be everywhere in pro play, and it's going to turn every game into Vision Wars, which is a massive buff for Korea, but I don't like this gameplay. Sure, whatever. Updated legendary items. Each item below functionality. Okay. No, Mortal Reminder doesn't give armor presentation. Okay, so this is Grievous Wounds with crit. Again, this is stupid item, incredibly overpowered versus dedicated healers, and doesn't really get them to let them play. And Rageblade. Now, this is an item I was excited to talk about. On-hit damage based on crit strike. So I feel what their design philosophy was with this was, we want to force Master Yi to start actually building damage rather than Rageblade and the jungle item and then tank and then still kill everyone. So this gets better. Rageblade now scales with your other crit items, so your Rageblade champions are going to have to build like carries if they still want to deal a large amount of damage. which means less Steraks and Dead Mans and Frozen Mallet Yees who you can't burst down. So, allowing... Oh, they've talked about Cogmore, interesting. I guess Cogmore might like it. Cog does like doing crit and Infinity Edges as well though, so it'll be situational. If it's good, Cogmore will buy it, but that's just what Cogmore does. He is an item delivery champion and who just auto-shoot to death. Yeah, cool. As in, if he can either auto-shoot to death or he isn't picked. Sorry to clarify there. He's not a very interesting champion. He will be played if Rageblade is OP and he can abuse it, but otherwise he will continue with his 1% pick rate. Yeah, same as before. Vayne will... Ooh, interestingly, I don't know if Vayne will want this anymore. Vayne having no crit does hit her late game super hard. That's interesting. I wonder what Vayne players will do. I don't know. I don't want to give a guess on that. If they want to go full on hit, that will be losing a lot of late game. Phantom Dancer, no lifeline. New passive, okay. Ghosting, sure, interesting enough. Not too exciting really, it's just a stat stick. Lord Dominic regards. This is back dealing with tanks better. This will still... Oh, it's got the armor pin on. This will be a situational item that will fuck tanks over who are already getting blasted in this entire patch, so rip them. But who likes tanks anyway? Essence Reaver. Ooh, it's Spellblade. Cool. Interesting. This is going to be super good on something like Lucian. Lucian mid is going to be a nightmare to play versus with this. He's going to destroy competitive play. Yeah, that's mostly what I've got to say about this one. Good item. Sivir. Sivir likes Essence Reaver. How good is this for her? Sivir really needs it. Sure, it gives her a little bit of an early game spike, but we shall see if that works out good for her. Infinity Edge. Crit progresses. Gain an additional 8% crit strike per... Gain an additional 8% crit... Oh, gain crit strike damage. So you can almost recover the old crit damage if you build full crit. Sure. So 100% crit will give you, quick maths, 5 times 8, 30% crit strike damage. Oh no, wait, 40% crit strike damage. So that'll give you... What, 215% damage? This is a big nerf compared to Old Infinity Edge. But you get a lot more utility over your items rather than Marksman being... This seems like a big goal of their item changes. Marksmen are going to do less damage late game, but they're going to have a lot more choices in terms of their utility. Manamune. Spending mana without hitting a champion no longer grants stacks. Huh. That's very weird. That's gonna make throwing Israel Qs off the wall for 20 minutes not so good at all. So this is a really weird change. Seems like a big nerf. Spending mana without hitting a champion doesn't give stats. That's crazy. Doesn't it? Strike a target with an attack or ability. Surely that's a mistake. It says strike a target without hitting a champion. Surely it doesn't want you to hit a champion like 150 times or something to stack it. Gain a new mana charge every 8 seconds. Bonus mana gained doubled if the target's a champion. Okay, so Riot just aren't proofreading their patch notes. So you can hit a minion and it gets 3 bonus mana? Yeah, I assume that's the case. That would be too crazy to force you to only hit champions. Yep, this is the same as before. I think it's been slightly nerfed though. Archangels. No longer grants... Oh, this is such a massive nerf for anyone who wanted this. Not that I care about Kassadin, but he's going to be hit big by losing this. Honestly, good. Most Archangel's abusers were super unfun to play versus, so I don't care too much that they're nerfing the late game power on this. Yeah, they're just a nerf to Archangels. Gives you more AP late game, but I like that more than people endlessly clearing waves of Anivia, etc. This is cool. Lich Bane no longer gives mana, so someone like Cat can buy it. Might be a really good item on her. Yeah, I really like that actually. We shall see how this works out. Might mean Fizz has to buy a mana item now, because he's going to be kind of struggling for it, but sure. Blade of the Ruin King. Interesting. Doesn't have an active anymore. So does current health damage. Ooh, big synergy with Rageblade here. And still gives all similar stats before. I feel like this is still going to be a strong item, but it might get overshadowed by some broken ones for a bit. Cleaver. 5% targets missing damage. That's kind of cool. Still gives a good amount of CDR. I like this. It still doesn't overly impress me though. I feel like it's still going to be living in Trinity Force. Well, it doesn't have to directly compete with Trinity Force anymore. I feel like this item is still going to live in other items' shadows and going to be really niche. Maybe Darius might finally buy it again because it applies on his passive. Maybe Ash. Could be a weird meme item that works well on Ash. We shall see there. Yeah. No grants Omnivamp, no health regen, active removed. Seems fairly simple, really basic stat stick item now. Yeah. I think this was also made so range champions can buy it as well. Be interesting to see how this works with things like Runan's Ravenous Hydra comboing together, assuming Runan's still in the game. But I assume that is. That'd be too big a change. But imagine Ravenous Hydra, Runan's Twitch. That would like kill your entire team if they group up. That'd be kind of cool. Shaping Titanic Hydra. Get some raw AD. This is kind of cool. This is good for bruisers. Jax might like this change. Aurelia, those sort of champions. Be good on Scion, but he still builds it. I think this is still good on the same champions it was before, just a little changed. Wits End, movements. Oh, it loses its healing. Shit item. I'm not even going to bother reading the rest. This is garbage. Okay, maybe I'll read a bit more, but give some AD. This is movement speed. These champions don't need movement speed. And why are they suggesting Echo buys an AD item? Echo, AD Echo. Thank you for that. Very cool. More of Malmortius. Lifeline. Big shield. Cool situational item. Please buy this more. I don't know. More has always been a bit of a trap item to build because by the time you're building more on top of your other items, most of the time AP champions have caught up and will kill you for it, and you're spending a lot of gold for this defensive ability, and it's better to just sit on Hex Drinker. I very much doubt that's going to change. You might upgrade it as the last item, but you'd probably just sell it for a Guardian Angel. Kind of shit item. Death Stance, Bleed Cleanse, Movement Speed, Ignore Pain, yeah, that's the same as before. Champion, Takedown, Cleanse, Ignore Pain, Remaining Damage. Huh, interesting. There's no magic resist on it anymore, which is anti-physical damage item. This might make it more niche rather than a must-buy every game, but that seems somewhat healthy. Steraks, cool. Big engage. Be good on like Darius and champions that want to sit in with your team again. I'm rushing through these a bit now because I'm a little bored of doing this, because we're getting to much simpler items that haven't changed much from the last one. Ooh, CDR on Omen. Does it still give crit damage? No. It's just anti-auto attacks. It's going to be a buy it and if they've taken all AD, or multiple marksmen. Seems pretty simple. Also, anti-attack speed item. Reduces the attack speed, reduces incoming basic damage. Poof. A Malphite with this is never gonna die to an auto attacker. I know they've got lots of items to combat it now, but some specific champions are gonna be crazy with this new effect. Rammus and Malphite come to mind. You might as well just ult F4 if you're playing full AD versus Malphite or Rammus. Now that's got even worse for you. So, take some AP champions. Active converted to King Shield, that makes sense. It was always kind of confusing. This item was a mess in the first place. It was designed so Cho'Gath would one-shot people, and then they decided, oh, that wasn't a good idea, so let's actually fix it, and then no one used it. Sure, it's a good mix item. Supports might be able to get it. The cost has gone up too much for supports though, so it's going to be a situational tank item. Maybe good, maybe outshined by other options, but it's going to be hard to find a game where this isn't at least useful. Abyssal Mask. That's much worse. What? This is shit. It's lost its Catalyst power, and then mobilizing, you gotta CC people. That's crap. What a shit item. Don't buy this. Maybe it's cheap for 60 magic resist, but this is so nerfed. Okay, I hate that item. I also incredibly hate this item. This is disgusting. Does it? Yep. Immobilizing champions applies 6% grievous wounds. Grievous wounds is going to need such a rework. This is such a bad idea. Zeke's Convergence. On hit. Whoo! Put it on a Master Yi. Yay, we buffed Tarek Yi Funnel. Hooray! Tarek Yi Funnel is such great gameplay. This is literally designed for that sort of synergy. That's really disgusting. But this is still going to be a really good item in all seriousness. It's already, as they say, already extremely powerful. Champions like Rakan are still going to buy it. It's still going to be a very good tank support item. Let's vow. Damage or direct increased. No grants movement speed. No longer grants armor. Huh. It's cheaper. Redirects more damage. This doesn't seem to penalise... Ooh, I like this. This doesn't seem to penalise ranged champions anymore. So you can buy it on, like, enchanters situationally. That could be weird, but you can also buy it on fresh now. This might be a decent fresh item. This passive is just still really good, 15% of damage. If you're a champion that's pretty much all your kit is in utility anyway, you might as well get that on, say, fresh situationally. More disgusting grievous wounds items. Yep, broken. Sanguine Blade now provides physical vamp. Weird, but sure. Not changed much. Similar stat efficiency. Balance changes. Very quick ones. Yep. Oh, no lifesteal on Merc Skim. That makes it much more of a situational item. This is harder to fit in a build now because it replaces your lifesteal item, whereas before you could just take it and it would always be good. So you might see less Merc Skims unless you specifically need it versus like a Malzahar or Mordekaiser. Late game buff for Runans. Cool, I like that. Runans are one of my favourite items, so I like that it's got... Ooh, I said buff. That's a big gold increase for just adding a little bit of AD. Ooh. That's a weird buff. Lots of champions aren't going to like what they've done to that. I could buy it still Cogmore. Cog and Varus. It's going to be weird to see how that works out. Rylai's is probably going to be overshadowed, but I thought they would have removed Rylai's given that it's now on that weird mask item I was looking at above. On hit damage. That's a big buff that's been underrated. Wait, what? This item is crazy. I was losing CDR. Okay, I see what they're doing here. Not giving it any ability haste. It's so you want to buy it on bruisers, but bruisers want CDR, they don't want. Nashor's Tooth was overpowered before. It was like one of the most stat efficient items in the game, but I feel like this may kill it. I don't know. Increased AP ratio on hit is big, so it's going to make it more into a scaling item. You're not going to build this first item anymore. And a lot of champions that wanted to play as AP bruisers were kept viable by Nashers, because it was so overstated it allowed someone like Diana to play with that playstyle. Maybe they're hoping that their other items will fill that gap. Bloodthirster now has crit. Cool, more people are going to buy this. I like the new icon actually. Edge of Night. Slight nerf, weird, okay. Ghostblade. Nerfed, it's not got any CDR. I don't know when anyone's going to buy this item anymore. It's already crowded out by a lot of other choices a lot of the time. Yeah, I don't like they removed CDR on that. Glaive is still OP on some supports and competitive play. Like Senna is still going to be disgusting with it. One-shotting all your wards, but mostly unchanged. Nothing to say about GA, it's still a late game item. Why bother with that? Weird nerfed item. Strange choice to nerf Warmonks when it was barely being used, but okay. Spirit Visage losing, okay. They're nerfing this, but also increasing grievous wounds. Anyone trying to rely on healing is going to be very dead in this preseason. Just in time for the Prestige Soraka skin to make her unplayable. Most speed on Deadman's, that's okay, that's nice. No movement speed on Ardent anymore. No CDR? Is this not some kind of mistake? Ardent now gives no CDR. I'm not sure this is going to be viable to build. This is going to be a kind of terrible item. They hate enchanters so much in this preseason. Like, why not give Ardent some ability haste? That's really unfair. They're buffing Redemption a little bit. Heal shield power, that's kind of big. Giving it some ability haste. No longer damages minions or what? More enchanters did not need these massive nerfs. This is really weird how hard they've gone on killing, like specifically Soraka, Nami, and Lulu. That's like, why? I don't like these changes in terms of a support point of view. That was a worthless passive anyway, but sure. Mikael's is the magic resist item of choice now that you lost Grail. If you really need your magic resist on an enchanter, you'll get Mikael's now. What? It doesn't affect suppression? Riot promised in pre-season that Mikael's was going to affect suppression now. Maybe that's them not checking, or they've made a change back to that, but that was like one of the only things that was going to save Mikael's from being a shit item, being able to buy it situationally to help out against Malzahar. But sure, why not? Mikael's is nerfed as well. Measures, no mana on it, cool, means Cat can buy it a lot easier. Zonya's is going down in... That's a big buff for Zonya's. Strange choice, but okay. That means more supports can get that. That's a much lower budget to buy. Both of these items are it's strange that they're making these cheaper. Algos is already one of the strongest actives in the game, and making it more accessible is going to create some weird gameplay patterns. I'm not really much of a jungle player at a high level, so I may skip over these a little more, and perhaps if you're listening to my full review, I would suggest listening to a jungle main for this. What do I note? The blue one, sure, the red one. This is some stat lines, bundles of stats versus jungle camps. It's hard to know. Okay, yep. I'm gonna skip over these. The jungle will still be the jungle. Epic items. I don't want to go into too much detail on these. These are mostly fairly simple. The Raid Knife is kind of cool. I saw that already. This is going to be a mini Rageblade for like Yi or early game, so that's quite cool. Blinding Jewel. Okay, don't care. Build path item. More disgusting buffs to Grievous Wounds. God, it's so broken. Like, every item in the game now gives Grievous Wounds. Oh, this is such a mess. Seeker's Arm Guard. This is going to be a crazy good item. This is so good. Controlling if you don't buy this against any AD opponent. Maybe this is why they had to buff every assassin AD item, because every mid-lane mage is going to buy this and then complete the rest of their items while getting 60 gold. 60 armor, 45 armor for 900 gold. That's ridiculously good. Alternator? Opening the item up. It wasn't already an item in the game. Who are you opening it up to? Damage an item. Okay. Some more damage. Simple. Army Cinder, still simple. Yep, cool. Oh, this is interesting. Arm Guard was already OP. Now you can also... This nerfs champions like LeBlanc super hard, because you can buy this, stop getting one shot, and move on with the rest of your game while they fall off. Reduce incoming damage. Sure, interesting enough. Health scaling... Wait, Phage gives you sustain now. After you deal physical... That's really annoying to lane versus. So you're just going to be able to poke your enemy and heal up at the same time. So that's going to be a massive pain playing versus a Gnar who's rushed this. Okay, sure. Tiamat. Sure. This might be too good on range champions buying it to wave clear. Notably Ezreal. Ezreal might break this Tiamat now. Giving Ezreal wave clear is always risky. Yeah. It now has an active on a different item. That's weird, but this item's going to be probably the useless half. Apart from like Rengar or Kha'Zix who are going to use it to burst you harder. Oh yeah, that's what this item is going to be for. This is going to be Rengar buys it to one-shot you faster early game, and apart from that it's going to be useless. And look, a mirror. Build path, fairy charm. Interesting enough. Epic item. Well, they've reduced the duration, which is somewhat nice, but it's still broken. Total gold. Yeah, don't care about Zeals. I've already talked about this. Minor stat line changes. Don't care. Oh, Aegis gives CDR now. That's big. It's going up quite a bit of cost for that, but okay. Huh. More heal and shield power accessible early game. So it now doesn't give CDR. This is a weird item. You buy the idol for the CDR. That's, you're really niche for that being any good. So you can now start tier. That's weird. No one's going to do that anyway. Dark Seal is now broken on Vladimir. So is Doran's Ring. I'm not going to talk too much about these. These are fairly similar in how they're going to play the game out as the old items, but small minor changes. Basic item, total cost, crit cloak, sure. This fairy charm, that's a brutal change to fairy charm actually. That's going to nerf the strat of just buying a fairy charm to sell it back later, because often if you only had 125 spare gold, you'd just pick up a fairy charm. Wait, so they're nerfing them all. That's not very exciting. Now, tribute going up is okay, so you get your other items. But they're nerfing the items itself. Sure, I'm okay with that. Oh no, they lost Ninja to Buy. Ninja to Buy never made any sense whatsoever as a name for boots that made you tankier, but there we go. I've removed items. Don't care about you. You're still in the game. You're still in the game. 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 These aren't removed at all. Rip Adaptive Helm. Athene's. It was too strong, but it propped up so many champions that are going to be very dead. Rip every enchanter and most solo lane champions like Lulu and Karma. Many people won't be sad to see them go, but they're going to need massive buffs to be viable after losing Athene's. Frozen Mallet, they've already put slows on every half of the other actives and passives, so it lives on in other items. Don't know why they're saying goodbye to it. Hextech Gunblade, Rip Cat, yep. Spellbinder, I like Spellbinder, but I think people were too stupid not to use the active. Rower, I really liked Rower. Losing the Catalyst is so big. There are so many champions that really liked getting that Catalyst early. That's going to be particularly tough on Twisted Fate and Kassadin. I like Shiv, sad we're losing it. Twin Shadows, too powerful. I disagree, I like Twin Shadows, even if it was really annoying to play versus with Glacial Augment. I think it was still fun and pretty balanced. Jarman's Fist was a shit item and no one liked it. Be gone. Yeah, that's mostly replaced. Yeah, that was kind of a don't miss that. And Rip Catalisk. I really liked Catalisk. Conqueror. Rune changes. We're on to runes now. Conqueror is now... That's not too much different, is that right? Shifting its power from Sustain to Adaptive Force. Okay, why not just remove the Sustain completely? Then you don't have to put fucking Grievous Wounds on every item in the game. Turning back the overall Sustain of Bloodline. Sure, why do you need to buff Grievous Wounds massively if you're killing every Sustain item? Just big enough for Ravenous Hunter. Oh no, the Presence of Mind's getting changed. Permanent stats for single-handedly solving resource issues. I know, I liked it on so many champions. More in line with the minor runes and tailored toward champions. Oh, this is such a big nerf. Damaging an enemy champion increases your mana regeneration. Oh, lame. I really liked having the permanent mana stacks, but I see why it had to go. Transcendence to still gain bonuses. Oh, so it's like a Gathering Storm for CDR. Oh, this is going to be busted. Everyone take this. Champion takedown, reduce remaining cooldown of basic abilities. Yeah, anyone who wants CDR is going to be taking this. This is so good. Some of Transcendence. Streamline. 10 item haste. Strange. 15 summon a spell haste. Sure, why not? This will still be super situational for champions that really rely on their flash now. So, like, I don't know, Annie Flash Tibbers will still probably like this. 10 item haste. Affects all item cooldowns. This is too hard for me to judge right now. This might have some broken interactions with non-active cooldowns. We shall have to see. Ability haste. Sure, that's a weird choice, but okay. I liked it. I liked having a scaling choice in the runes. Small clarity update. Okay, don't care. And right, that's pretty much covered the items. Let's have a quick... I think that will be too much of a video for me to also cover champion adjustments. Let's skip through them for now. This may have solved some of the issues I was talking about. I don't care about ARAM, shit game mode. I hope they remove this shit. No, they're putting it on more champions. I want less of it. It's such an unclear change. Oh, maybe the colour change will make it better to play with, but this is awful. You'd play Vlad and you'd never know how much health you actually had, or play versus Vlad and never know how much health he had. Okay, don't care about any of this. This is already done. Lucian, cool, don't care. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Right, that covers that. Right, thanks for watching, and mostly just I made this video to look back later, see how right I was about many of these items, but I hope this helped maybe less experienced players understand what's going on in pre-season a bit. Right, as always, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Especially comment, give me feedback, that's always the most valuable thing to do. Right, thanks for watching.